decent size, down day. It was like 1% or so. Well, all that happened, we filled this gap yesterday, which is awesome, right? You want some of these gaps to come in and fill. So now we've this happens a lot in the market where it's like you get one nasty day and you're like, all right, maybe we'll get a couple day pullback, and then whoop, you gap right back into range. So now, like, we're definitely penis in between us. We're definitely penis in between us now. And so we'll have to see kind of how we resolve this. Yeah, we'll see what goes on. So far so good. What we'll have to do is we can't chase this gap up. The main thing is, at least on the long side for tech, you can't, hey Beth, what's going on? You can't chase this gap up. Like that's a fool's gold right there. If you gap up 1%, it's going to suck out a lot of the range in the market, but then you're also inside range, right? So like now you're penis in between us, which is the worst spot to be in. You're in the back seat of your buddy's Volkswagen. You're not right nut. You're not left nut. You're right in the middle. For anybody who's ever ridden in a Volkswagen Jetta, beyond it just being a very feminine car, where, beyond just being a very, very effeminate car, they're also uncomfortable. They're also uncomfortable. That's what you're going to get. That's where we're at right now, and that's what we got to be just a little bit mindful of. Marina, aren't you Czechoslovakian or something? That seems like that you're. That's probably. That's probably your thing right there. You guys love little cars up there because you got very small alleys up there. You got very small alleys. Now the SPY is actually looking a little bit better. So you're right up at the breakout spot. So there's going to be a little bit of a dichotomy today in that the QQQs will be inside range. The SPY is already busting out. So like you may have a little bit of choppiness in tech stocks, but then you'll have a little bit more action in non-tech stocks. So if you actually think about like kind of what was like cooking yesterday, and there's some interesting plays that started popping up yesterday that I think we need to be aware of. Hold on, my whole list is big. First of all, you had a big run in all these oil stocks. I would say oil and gas kind of stocks. They're all looking like they're getting ready for a breakout. You have really nice range on the CPE. You don't think like that would be, you wouldn't think like this thing could move $4 or $5 right off the open, but that actually's got a really nice chart on it. I would keep that on your list. You got SM, put an alert right at that 19 spot. Put an alert at that 19 spot. You're going to have yourself a picture-perfect breakout if this thing, it may need 1 day's worth of rest just to, tighten up these EMAs, but you're getting into it. This CLR actually looks, this looks like a swing trade that's ready to bang today. You got yourself like a nice compression breakout, breaking over trend line, both your moving averages. Once again, this is like not a sexy sector, It's not like a battery stock, but you've got really, really good range. This has been the number one. Energy has actually been, energy commodities, this has been the number one sector of the year. The returns are no different than last year with, EV cars. It's just not as sexy. Definitely, this is something you want to put on your list. I'm actually looking at, adding some of this into like my IRA. Guys, you're seeing all sorts of price increases in input prices beyond just oil. I mean, you're seeing them from different types of food to plastics to so on and so forth. You definitely want to, in some portion of your portfolio account, 401k, want to be in hard assets that, will inflate. Inflation is upon us. It's just, there's no getting around it. I mean, I think we printed like 30% of our money supply in the last 2 years. So take that wherever you need to take it. But like you want to be in some of these. This one, it's just got a sick name, right? The Matador. But you got a nice compression breakout over here too. You tapped into the 50, remounted the 9. Now these are, you can day trade these, but these are also, this is looking like a hot little swing trade. This is looking like a hot little swing trade. I like the overall look of this one too. You got 1 test, 2 test, 3 test, 4 test. You just started its move. This one's got to have Uko Alexi stinks to trade. You know that. You know that. Fang is another one. This thing is $25. You got a nice trend on it, but it's not looking back. So what you start to see here is for about 2 weeks, you just kind of nuzzling against that 50 SMA. You're starting to curl these bad boys up, and you've remounted both your 9 and 20. And you can see just like you're starting to finally break out over some levels here. This is another one, probably like maybe stop at 76, give or take. Yesterday's lows or breakout is usually how I do it. That looks like if you get a little weakness today, I think that you roll in with, stop loss under this level over here. And this is another one you could probably tuck away in an IRA or something like that. They can move. They can move. So those are the 4, oily stocks, I think. CLR, the Matador, SM, CPE. Those are all, interesting possibilities. Now let's take a look at some bottoming tech stocks. Blizzy's been all over this for the last couple weeks. You got a double bottom on AI at 60. You had a big volume pop yesterday. I wasn't that into it because it's been thin, and the ATR, the average true range, is really thinned out lately. What I mean by thinned out is that the ATR on this thing, average true range, meaning how much it moves every day, it was $14, $15. Now it's at $4. So it's very much compressed, which makes it like untradeable in a way. If you get an e-liquid stock and it's got a low ATR, you're talking about the ultimate turd of turds for day trading purposes. But I think with the volume pop yesterday, we're going to start expanding on the ATR. You're already starting to see a little bit more range. The key is that now that it's remounted over its 20 SMA, and also, right, this last high, this is like your quintessential bottoming pattern. A bottoming pattern will essentially look like a W. It's like where you push down, pop up, push down, double bottom, or a higher low, and then you start to take out that range. Yesterday, the price action on this was actually pretty good in the morning, and it always tends to trade, AI in specific always trades better in the morning than the afternoon, and you'll see that if you go back on any of its big days, and you should always study a stock's big days, but if you go back, or just have, I just memorize them for the most part, but you can go back and just study them. But if you always notice with the AI is that it always has like the big morning and then fades off in the afternoon, big morning, then fades off into the afternoon. That's just the nature of the game. I like this look a lot. I think that this one's going to be in play for the next couple days. You have a level here around 73 and some change, give or take. If it busts over that, man, we're going to have ourselves some fun. We're going to have ourselves some fun. Good. I like this one a lot. Los Tigres, I'd leave alone. This one still needs a little bit more confirmation. I've been actually looking at this more for a swing. This stock was, this is a tech stock. This is $165. You've come down into the 100 spot. You're starting to get into a level where you have some multiple levels of support. Now, it may need to come back and test this 50 SMA. I don't know. You never know like where a stock support is going to end up. What you got to do is start reading the price action. Where does it hold? Where does it react to? Right? Where does it hold? Where does it react to? That's going to be the most important part. But if it starts to hold here, and how I would really kind of look at it is I want to see it start to build. I want to see it really hold up. And then from there, we'll start. We'll see. I need a big confirmation candle to get this thing going. But I think that one's going to be hot. Future is ready to bang right now. You had a big day on it yesterday. We were trading this back and forth. $14 range yesterday. It did dump into the close. Now you're gapping up right into that breakout spot again. Future does like to just cook. It does like to cook when it breaks over previous day's highs. If you look here, you got yourself a beautiful range break here. Frankly, if it breaks this range, I mean, it probably turns into a multi-day runner or a swing trade. That's going to be a pretty high one. Patrick, you're alive. I assume something bad had happened to you. What's going on? Good to see you, buddy. 162 is going to be, it's like true confirmation. I think it's probably ready to go now. You got multiple kind of levels that you're starting to break over. This is a 30-minute chart over here. The one big hairy butt, the one big hairy Indian butt is, it does trade a little bit thin. The margin rates suck on it too. What I mean by the margin rates stuck on it is that you can't size in big on it because they just don't let you. And there's, between that and the spread, it's a little bit tricky, but whatever. Like overall, it looks pretty good. I think that's my favorite play for today. Now, we had a nasty flush in Mara yesterday. Riot also. We were shorting the shit out of these. These are all on a cliff here. These are all on a cliff. See how it's just nuzzling against the 50 SMA? You're up 0.82%. 0.82%. These are all candidates today, right now, for green to reds. They may just drop off for a quick one at the open. Can is already red. If it breaks, it got busted on its earnings yesterday. It got busted on its earnings yesterday. If it takes out 314 at the open, we come in hot on this thing. We come in ready to shred. We come in laying the wood on this one. Riot, same thing. If it goes green to red, takes out yesterday's lows, we coming in hot. Mara, same thing. Guys, check your borrows. E-Trade had all of them yesterday, but Ameritrade only had Mara, which is fine. Like, they all run together. You always want to do that before the market opens. Like, okay, which ones do I got borrows on? That's why it's always important to have multiple brokers at some point. Guys, there's a hit piece out on QS. I mean, these guys are all hacks. I mean, you gotta put out a nice hit piece. Why don't you do it at like $100? Now, you do have a flat bottom breakdown on this at 40. Frankly, I think, if I don't want to chase it down at the open, if it bounces a little bit, let's see if we can get a quick pullback buyer at ORB. I wouldn't probably put too much credence into a hit piece by a company called Scorpion Capital. I guarantee you the guy that runs the fucking hit piece on Scorpion Capital is like some kid living in his mom's basement, fucking picking boogers out of his nose, rubbing it on his stomach, getting it caught in his innie and his button, and then he's holding it inside his belly button, and when he gets hungry and his mom's not there, not feeding him, he takes that out and eats it. Because that's what those guys do. They're nasty, nasty little people, those short sellers. But what are you going to do? We got a breakdown over here. This guy's eating boogers. We're coming in hot on it. What do? The price action says short. We got a short. Marina, don't act like you never seen a grown man hold a couple goodies inside his belly button. Maybe a little Jolly Rancher, a little gumdrop, a little Skittle. What if you're on an airplane and you need to prepare yourself for if the airplane crashes and you need sustenance? One of the best places to hide it is ready to go. Hey, Jay, I'm ready to short. I love shorting. I don't care if the short report's good or bad. The chart says short, we short it. Let's take a look. INO's got a PR out. INO is a pig. It is the ultimate pig. I don't know about that one. Dun dun dun. Zkins. Okay, so these are, we got a little NFT action. Look, if you want to trade NFTs, PLBY is probably the best out of the group that actually holds up and is tradable. It is a little bit long, a little bit long in the tooth, but it's got sick range on it. I mean, a couple thousand shares of this thing like on the break yesterday, and it was like fucking pop $3 in one candle. Yeah, I'd still roll with this. I'd roll with this a little bit. We could just, it's a day trader only. I do wonder if any of these ever will get picked back up again, but the problem with pump and dumps is that once they pump, you know, the dumps are just so bad, it's really hard to kind of get them going. We'll see. You can see BTBT's popping up too. I think this is a fader on a green to red. Junk, 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 junk. Tiger, tiger, tiger. Junk, junk, junk. Futures are one. All right, so let's talk about buckets. All right, when you're trading, you want to go in and have buckets. Like, what are my tiers of plays? So our tiers of plays today, we've got the Bitcoin stocks for green to red, right? We've got QS for earnings short, gapper plays, all right? Then we have our tech stocks. We've got like our futures, we've got AI, we got UPST. Those are our tech stocks. And then we've got our commodities bucket, which is FANG, MTDR, CLR, SM. And guys, do not sleep on these. They're oil companies, but they have range. They have range. They do. You could add FCX. I didn't put FCX because the float's too big. You know, it's a 2 billion float, give or take, which makes it harder to day trade in terms of intraday range. But it is a beautiful chart too. You know, I just thought the name Matador also just sounds cool. It's like, hey, what are you doing? It's a Matador. This thing is hot. So buckets. You got your text, AI, Peloton, Future. All right. You got your commodities. For short, we've got QS and our Bitcoin stocks. Riot, Mara, Can. That's the list. Mr. Alpha Trends is the GOAT. That is true. XOM is a slow bastard, though. But it's good enough. You know, Brian is an older man now. He's not as rowdy as he used to be. Living in Colorado will do that. It's that dry air. It makes your skin dry out. You end up looking like Jack Palance, riding around a horse, eating beef jerky all day. You may live to 100, but your skin ain't looking good. That's the list. I'm sticking to it, guys. Remember your buckets. Tier 1s, Tier 2, Tier 3s. Questions? You all remember Jack Palance. Come on. Jack Palance was a legend. City Slickers? Okay, I love City Slickers. One of my favorite movies. Alright, BBD, jump, 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 jump. AI. Good. Alright. Guys, we got boot camp class starting tonight. Boot camp class starting tonight. As you know, all old students, you guys have lifetime access to take as many classes as you want. I highly recommend always coming into class, mostly because I just like having the big crowd, but whatever. I always recommend coming into class. Now let's get these things going. Remember your buckets, guys. Riot, Can. You want to always organize these bad boys. All right? Cluster like where you want. Where does your eyes see everything? Hey, those vaccine plays are still working okay? Cool. All right, that's the list. I'm sticking to it, guys. Yes, we will probably shred this QS at some point, but we got to let it bounce a little bit. All right, rock and roll, peoples. Let's do it. Man, I ain't know such a turd, but I see it.